James Ernest of the Grueling Truth, here with the author of Baby Bombers, Inside the Next Yankee Dynasty, Bryan Hoch. Bryan, tell us, what inspired you to write the book?
I'll give you some backstory. I'm the Yankees beat reporter for MLB.com, so I'm here every day. This is now my 11th season covering the Yankees, and in the first half of last year, you could really tell that you were almost on the ground floor, something special happening. Aaron Judge hit 30 home runs in the first half, won the home run derby, and at that point, we started kicking around some ideas about a book, and initially we were thinking of doing a Judge book, but the more we talked about it, I realized there was a better, more broad story to tell here, and really what I try to capture in the book is how the Derek Jeter Yankees became Aaron Judge's Yankees, and obviously there's so much excitement around this team right now. They're selling out all the Grapefruit League games down here in spring training. You add Giancarlo Stanton to the mix, the National League MVP, 1 year after they finished one win away from going to the World Series. And I think that just anticipation is sky high for this team right now. And they were able to accomplish a whole lot in 2017. And I think it was just an appetizer for what's yet to come and how well this team is set to contend for titles in the very near future.
A lot of people are describing this book as a must-read before the 2018 season. Do you feel that's accurate?
And it's a very nice thing. It's awesome to hear that from a lot of people I respect and really appreciate their work in the baseball field. And I hope what it does is it captures what's going on right now in the Bronx, because with Aaron Judge and Greg Bird, Luis Severino, Gary Sanchez, I do feel like the Yankees have the building blocks here to really do some special things in the near future. The core four of Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera, Andy Pettitte, and Jorge Posada, plus Bernie Williams. I'm not sure if we'll see that again. That group was very special, but I think this is a special group too. And, what I really wanted to do is capture where these guys came from, how a team in a major market like the New York Yankees can rebuild on the fly. And it's fun to be around all these 25-year-old, 26-year-old kids who are not just young, but they're talented, and they're learning how to be stars in New York City.
One of the players that I think is the most underrated on the Yankees, though, is Dini Gregorius. Do you feel that would be an accurate statement?
Yeah, well, I think that one of the chapters in the book that we talk about is Jeter leaves the Yankees at the end of the 2014 season, and they're almost in an identity crisis of sorts of, who are the Yankees going to be without Derek Jeter? And what Frank Cashman talks about, the general manager, in the book is he comes from the school where you have to have a strong spine up the middle, and then that means catcher, shortstop, second base, center field. And shortstop is obviously such a huge, vital position on the field. And Dini Gregorius, when he came over to the Yankees, there were a lot of questions. They got him in a trade from the Arizona Diamondbacks, and this was a guy, great athletic tools, great potential, but hadn't really done it yet at the big league level. And one of the knocks against him was he couldn't hit left-handed pitching very well. Well, now you fast forward a couple of years, and he's one of the best shortstops in the game at hitting left-handed pitching. His defense is rock solid. He's a leader. On and off the field. Manager Aaron Boone calls him the captain of the infield. So I think that, while there's a lot of focus on the baby bombers, Dini might be a little old to be a baby, but maybe he's one of the teenage bombers, and he's such a huge part of this team going forward.
Is it possible to have too much talent? Because there's a lot of positions where they're jockeying to see who's going to be on the major league, who's going down to the AAA.
Yeah, I don't know if it's possible to have too much talent. Baseball, it's such a long, grueling season. Schedule 162 games plus spring training and then the postseason. So you're going to have injuries. At times it's a game of attrition. But in the case of a player like Clint Frazier, who is one of their top-rated outfield prospects, and he's slowed right now with a concussion injury, but coming into camp, he was on the outside looking in because the Yankees have so much outfield talent. They have an outfield with Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton and Brett Gardner and Aaron Hicks in center field. Jacoby Ellsbury has a long-term contract. So when Clint Frazier got here, his mindset was to make the big league team, and I think that's what you have to think. But realistically looking at it, he was going to need one or maybe two players to get hurt for him to be on that big league roster. So I think it's a tough spot to be in because all these guys, their dream was to play big league ball, not to be down in AAA. But in a lot of cases, you have to wait your turn and wait for an opening. So I think that having that much talent, it creates some roadblocks, but it really is a nice problem to have if you're the Yankees.
You had an amazing article in December, the 5 questions. I'm going to steal them. Is Aaron Boone ready for this?
You know what? From everything I've seen right now, yeah, I think he is. I think he's hit the ground running. I think there are a lot of people, myself included, who thought that Joe Girardi would probably be back for the 2018 season after getting them so close to the World Series, but I think that Boone has been a good hire. I think he's going to be a player's manager. It's a more relaxed clubhouse atmosphere that I think you see. And from everything I've seen, he's hit the ground running. He's buttoned up. I think that the more the players get to know his personality, he's going to handle New York fine. I think he's going to be a good manager because he's got great players.
Do you feel his legacy with playing with the Yankees is going to help at all with the players?
I think it helps with the fans a little bit. Maybe it gives them a little bit of a cushion in case the Yankees get off to a slow start. I think that the fact he hit one of the biggest home runs in Yankee postseason history, that to win that 2003 ALCS against the Boston Red Sox, I mean, I don't think he'll ever have to buy a beer in New York City if you're Aaron Boone, but I think that it's going to come down to wins and losses. So I think that'll take him so far. But I think the players respect the fact that this guy played in the big leagues. He comes from baseball bloodlines. His grandfather played in the big leagues. So did his father. So he's been in big league dugouts since he was 2 or 3 years old. I don't think it's going to be too difficult of a transition for Boone.
What's your thoughts on the East? I mean, with the Red Sox winning the division last year, obviously the Yankees did well, but they ended up getting in through the wild card. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the Yankees still have to prove it on the field. For as much excitement as there is about this team, they're not the defending world champions, the Astros are, and they're not the defending AL East champions because Boston took the division by 2 games. So they've got to close that gap. I think it's going to be a dogfight between New York and Boston all year in the East. I'm really excited to see when Giancarlo Stanton goes to Fenway Park for the first time as a member of the Yankees, how that reaction is going to be. Because I almost feel like the Yankees were a warm and cuddly story. They were a hard team not to like last season. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. They're not going to sneak up on anybody. They've got the target on their back now, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun to see how they respond to that.
Now, was it your job with MLB that you were able to get such access to the players, or how were you able to learn such insight into them?
Well, I've been covering the Yankees for MLB.com since 2007, so I think in a lot of ways I've been gathering for this book without even knowing it, a lot of it. So I think that as far as tracing the final days of Derek Jeter's career and the transition from that older, veteran-laden team with the guys like Alex Rodriguez and Mark Teixeira who wrote our foreword, and how that team was able to cycle into a group of younger players. I feel like I was here on a daily basis. I cover most of the games all season. I travel with them where they go. I do spring training in the postseason. So these guys know me. I feel like they were able to be very generous with their time. I think they understood the project in a lot of ways and the story I was trying to tell. And I'm pleased with how it came out. So I hope that the fans enjoy it as much as I enjoyed working on it.
With Easter coming up, any concerns about any Yankees players stealing your Easter candy?
No, but there is a story in the book about Aaron Judge's transition to New York City and how he's adapting to that. He was living in a hotel in Midtown Manhattan, and Brett Gardner, one of his teammates, tells him, "Hey, why don't you come out with me to Westchester and stay in the house with me?" Gardner's family was away for the week, so the 2 of them kind of had a week-long slumber party and just kind of seeing what the suburbs of New York City are like. And Judge enjoyed it, but he hasn't been invited back, and he thinks that part of the reason is that he ate Gardner's son's Easter candy. So the kids were upset about that when he came back. And but Gardy said that the Judge was a good house guest. He made him put the dishes in the dishwasher and clean up after himself. And so I think that's one of the fun, off the field stories, because I think that we all see what happens between the white lines, and people watch. There's so much interest and attention of the Yankees. I know there's fans that watch every single game. I try to give stories like that to tell people what's going on behind the scenes that maybe they haven't heard about or didn't know about.
It's really nice to be able to humanize the players because, unfortunately, sometimes with sports, they seem to be put on a pedestal or, seem to be different than us. But, it's nice to see that they have some of the same, little quirks that, we do as regular folks.
For sure, yeah. Players are just like us. They're out in the spotlight. There's cameras on them every day, and they're doing more interviews than you or I are. But they are, at the end of the day, they're people with jobs and families, and you want to tell that story. And these are people who are the best in the world at what they do. They follow their dreams, and here they are on the biggest stage in New York City, and they're becoming stars before our eyes. Aaron Judge, for example, I keep coming back to Judge, but he's 6'7", so he's used to walking down the street and being stopped, and people would say, "Hey, you're really tall. What do you do? What sport do you play?" But I think last season, as he became more of a celebrity in New York City, when he was stopped on the sidewalk, he talks about it in the book. He says people would stop and say, "Hey, you're Aaron Judge." Oh my God, So it's that kind of thing, being in that spotlight, the limelight, and learning how to adjust to now becoming a star like the guys like the Derek Jeters who preceded them.
The book's been out for a little over a week. How's it been received?
It's been received well. Like I said, I've gotten some really encouraging praise from people that I really respect in the game, and the fans on Twitter really seem to be embracing it and enjoying it. I think that there's so much interest and passion for this New York Yankee team, and I think you could see it a few years ago too, when the team started to sell off some of their veterans and go with younger talent. You didn't hear a whole lot of public outcry. I think people were hungry for a team that they could embrace, and I think that's what they have right here. So I think the book just captures some of that, and the reception has been very positive. I've been very happy with it.
Who would you like to thank? Who helped and supported you with this book?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, my wife, Connie, has been so supportive through this. Without that, I couldn't have done it. We have a 1.5-year-old daughter at home, Penny, who she really picked up a lot of the slack there while I was on the road with the team in places like Cleveland and Houston, and so I couldn't have done it without her. But within the Yankee organization, I would say General Manager Brian Cashman, Manager Joe Girardi, obviously the players, including Aaron Judge, Greg Bird, Luis Severino, Gary Sanchez. In the front office, Damon Oppenheimer, Donnie Roland. These guys were also very generous and willing to share their stories. I think it really just lended to the project and helped me accomplish what I was trying to do there.
With social media and websites out there, where can fans learn more about you, the Yankees, the book, that kind of thing?
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm on Twitter at Bryan Hoch, BryanHoch. You can find me on Facebook too, Instagram. We're doing the social media dance, so it's a lot of fun to be on all those different platforms. And my day job is writing for Yankees.com, so we've got stories going up every single day. So as a beat reporter, if it's happening with the Yankees, I'm right there on the ground floor with it and covering it. So we'll keep you up to speed on the New York Yankees.
Sounds great, Bryan. Any final thoughts for the fans?
I just really appreciate all the support and having the interviews and the platforms to talk to the fans like this. I mean, it's been really great to kind of share my thoughts, and now it feels like the end of a long project. It was really cool to hold the book in my hands and see what the finished product was going to look like. And now going forward, I really hope the fans enjoy this book, because I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and empty the tank into it. So I hope that it comes through, and it's something that Yankee fans and baseball fans are proud to have on their bookshelf.
Excellent. Would like to thank our guest today, Bryan Hoch, the author of The Baby Bombers, Inside the Next Yankee Dynasty. Thank you, Bryan.
Thank you very much.